Alright guys, welcome back to another MCreator procedure tutorial. So today what we're going to be looking at is Entity NBT, so we're going to get started with that. So let's go ahead and create a tick update. I'm just going to call this procedure tick because that's what it's going to be doing. We're going to assign the entity tick update. So basically every time a tick will happen for the entity, this is going to run. Now, to find these blocks, what you need to do is go under the entity procedures, and they are both found under the actions and data. So we can scroll a little bit further down from here, and they will be right down here. We have three variables, so the tag name, we'll get into that in just a second, but these three are here. We have logic, number, and strings to work with, so your basic variable types. And basically what we have is set event/target entity custom, and then the type of variable it is, NBT tag, and then our tag name. Now the tag name is going to be our variable name for the actual variable that we're assigning to the entity, so the NBT. And then on the right hand side, 2, and then this is our value that we're going to basically be setting it to. So in this case, logic will be true or false, numbers will be numbers, and strings will be a text. And in the case of strings, the value is going to be tag value, not tag name. So the tag name is our variable name. All right, so let's grab one of these and we'll set this to name for our demonstration. And I'm going to apply this to our entity display name. So I need to get the display name of the entity down here. So basically if the entity is a certain one, what I want to do is I want to actually apply the display name to the variable name. So that's what we're doing here. And I also want it to not run every tick, so I don't want it to keep being applied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to strings and test if that variable is empty. So is text empty? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our data and we'll scroll down all the way to the bottom, and then we have our values here. So we have get event/target entity custom, and then our variable type, NBT tag, and then our tag name. So this tag name is going to be the same as our variable name that we set with the other one. So we're going to grab string, we're going to copy our NBT tag name from down here, and we're going to place it up here. So that's basically going to make sure that the tag name is the same, and we're testing if that value is empty. If it is empty, then we're going to assign the value of the display name of the actual entity. So we can save that now. And we're going to need a way to actually demonstrate this. So we could do it of two ways. We could do it through commands, which takes a little bit of searching through the command, but we're also going to create a right click. So right, and we're going to set right click on entity. So this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to print out a message to the player, and we're going to put this on our action bar. We're going to set this to source entity to start with. And then what we want is to create text with. We learned that from last tutorial for commands. We're going to go name, and then we're going to get the value for that entity. So we're going to go to entity procedures, data, and then we're going to scroll all the way down where it was before, and we're going to grab this one and we're going to call it name, and we're all set up. So we can test this now in game, and then we'll run Minecraft, right click on an entity, and we can see what that display name of the entity is. So let's go into Minecraft and do that. All right, so we're in a fresh new world, just so we know that everything is working as it should. I'm going to go over to this pig and right click on it, and we get the name, and it says pig. So basically the pig is the display name for the actual name of the entity right now. We can go to maybe this horse over here, give this a quick test. Well, if we could not write it. So basically if we shift, so we cancel out the right click event, and we can right click on it, it says horse. So let's go and find, there's a donkey over here. We can give this a try too. So it says donkey. There might be some cows or something we can test with. There's some cows. So we got cow. So yeah, that's basically how it basically works. We're just basically right-clicking on the entity that we want to, and we're getting the display name of that villager, or the entity itself. So that one just said villager. So, and we have a sheep over here too. So there we go. All right. So the limitations of this. Obviously, if the entity despawns, the variable isn't going to exist anymore. If it dies, it's not going to exist anymore. So, for example, if the player dies or somehow, I guess, despawns or an entity despawns, then it's going to remove the MBT. So it would have to be reapplied after the data is, or the entity respawns and stuff like that. So other than that, it does seem that going through another portal does keep the data, so you can still technically do that. At older versions, this wasn't the case. Going through another portal would basically wipe the data, and as it would basically act as the entity basically despawning and respawning in another world. But this seems to be fixed, at least on either MCreator or Minecraft's End, one of the two. So it's safe to use these variables with most cases, but just keep in mind when the player dies or whatever, this is going to be wiped. And yes, they do work on players, but they won't be a sustainable way. If you're going to be applying variables to a player, I suggest using global player variables instead, because those can be for, I forget what it's called. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at it. So I think it's something a little bit different. So if we go to variables and then create a new variable, our variable type should be persistent. So the other one for lifetime is going to be just for the duration of the entity living. If you want it to be synced for eternity for the player until otherwise determined not to be, then you'd use persistent. So those will work way better than MBT, and it's both the same way of setting up a local variable. So I would suggest using those if you're working with players at any particular time, unless you need something on server side like MBT, but you can always pass over certain variables to client anyways. So outside of that, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.